Thank you, Nicola, and thank you, dear family, friends all around the world. It is indeed both a pleasure, honor, and also a difficult moment for us to be isolated the way we are on the 105th anniversary of or commemoration of the Armenian genocide, when at that time Armenians became extremely isolated as well from each other in the world. What happened 105 years ago that later became characterized as a genocide, the mass atrocity, was a man-made event. And that event thrust the Armenian people for the century to follow in a search for justice, for understanding, for recovery, for strength, and for a place in the world, a new place in the world, and a voice. At the centennial 5 years ago, the Aurora Prize in Humanitarian Initiative was launched to get a better understanding of what happened. And in doing so, we realized that in addition to the victims and the criminals, there were also at that point survivors and saviors who were born. And the human spirit that motivates people to save others is one that very few of us have experienced, but many Armenians are the beneficiaries of. And as we looked into that concept, we realized that to honor those saviors, we needed to do nothing more than to find modern day saviors. And that's what launched the spirit of Aurora. Now, we're living at a time when that same spirit is being thrust upon all of the world. There are modern day saviors in every community, and there are survivors who can't understand why this is happening with the virus and the senselessness and the despair that Armenians felt 105 years ago. And so while I don't want to create an association between what we're living in the world and what happened to Armenians, I can't but point out that while the perpetrator is different, the effect is much the same, and the scale is now global. And the reason I bring that out is because our mission of bringing the world's attention and humanitarian aid to these situations is particularly appropriate and should be understandable in every family, in every corner, given what's happening. We talk about gratitude in action. It can't but be that when one's life is saved, they are filled for generations with a sense of gratitude. And we live at a time when that gratitude can be expressed in humanitarian actions, in helping others everywhere. So while last year, a lot of you watched Aurora and thought, well, it's good that people are doing this, we support them. And of course, we're so far from the places where these actions are being taken, but we appreciate meeting the people, hearing their stories. Well, for everybody that's listening, you can be a humanitarian today because the need is there right around the corner. So sorry that I'm a little bit moved by this, but I think the message is that the spirit of gratitude can be as much of an infection as a virus. It's an infection for good, not an infection for bad. And that's the message that we really want to bring to the world. So in deciding to go forward with the event today, it was a sense of responsibility that we are commemorating something that is being in part relived, and we ought to be the voice that brings this to the world's attention.
Thank you, Nubár, for this